Hey Ash, are you there?
Yeah, can you hear me?
Yeah, I can. How are things with you?
Yeah, good yourself?
Yeah, really good. Have you had a good day?
Yes, not bad at all, thank you. Is my video not on?
It isn't.
Do you switch it on?
I think you need to switch it on.
Oh, I need to do it. Sorry, I've done it now.
Me too. There's a lot of things we can do, but we can't switch your video on.
No, sorry.
That's all right.
Nerves, pre-webinar nerves.
Do you still get those?
Of course you do.
100%. I understand
A
what you're
little bit.
saying.
Yeah,
It's different when I'm kind of hosting it.
yeah. No, you still get them a little bit.
Yeah, for sure.
You need to
I like
install it 3 times before we start.
it's a must. And I like your jacket. It looks cool.
Thank you.
And glasses new?
Uh, Started wearing them about 2 years ago properly, but I'm wearing them all the time now. I
Oh,
think
okay, fine, fair
my
enough.
eyesight's getting worse and worse. I need to wear them a lot now. Yeah, for reading when I'm driving, or only for when I'm reading or doing something close like this. Besides that, I don't need to wear them.
Fair enough.
Yeah,
Are you in your Manchester kind of
yeah,
the lecture
the training centre.
Yeah.
I am.
Cool. Excellent.
This is where it all happens.
That's where the magic happens.
That's where the magic happens. Or
We've
some of
been
it.
there a few times.
Yeah, how's your day been?
Yeah, really good, really good.
Yeah, spoke to your dad yesterday. I booked him into a hotel in Manchester in 2 weeks.
Yeah, brilliant. He's I don't know how many times he's done the course, but he's really enjoying it and passionate every time he comes. So yeah, really good.
I like your dad. Good man.
Top guy. So James, how are we doing with numbers? And we're going to crack. Do you want to give it another couple minutes?
Yeah, I think a few minutes past 7, we'd probably do ourselves some service.
Yeah.
We've just breached triple digits, so
that's good.
Yeah, I mean, by our experience, we'll suddenly see a climb within the next few minutes.
Yeah.
But I'll leave it to you to kick things off.
Yeah.
I'm going to start recording anyway.
That sounds like a good idea.
Dun, dun.
There's a bit of background feedback there, James. It's gone now.
Right. I'm gonna mute myself.
Okay. Yeah. Ashley, shall we? It's 7 o'clock now. Do you want to? I'll do a brief introduction and then I'll let you kind of take it away. Is that all right?
Yeah, sure. Will you pass over the so I need to get my can I put my slides up now?
Yes, you can. You can share.
This will stop other screen sharing. Do you want me to continue? Is that okay?
Yep, that sounds like
a
good idea. Is that the end of the presentation? That's the beginning, isn't it?
The beginning.
Yeah.
Can you see them okay?
Yeah. Everything looks good. So we're going to kick off with a man that needs pretty much no introduction, but I'm going to give him an introduction anyway. Ashley Latter is probably the biggest coach in terms of dentistry and has had huge impact on certainly my career and lots of other dentists in terms of just getting patients to not only accept treatment, but be able to deliver the treatment that we need to, because patients have to understand the options and actually go ahead with treatment. So he's definitely had an impact just talking personally, but I know a lot of other dentists that have really benefited from going up to Manchester to his courses, and we've had some in London and so on as well. And these Zoom webinars have been really amazing. So our whole group has at some stage over the last, I would say, 10 years had coaching multiple times with Ashley, and we were catching up just before. And my dad, who's a dentist and has been practicing 35 years, has probably been on the program no less than 6 times, and he still enjoys it. So it's really useful, and it just keeps you, invigorated every time. So Ashley, I'm going to hand over to you to crack on this amazing seminar that you've kind of put together in terms of Invisalign and cosmetic treatments, and let you take it away, pal. All right.
Great. Thanks very much, Mish. And thanks, James, as well, for organising everything in the last few days. It's great to have someone behind the scene to hold my hand. And also want to just say a big thank you as well for you guys for giving up an evening. I'm looking out the window here in my training centre. It looks like a beautiful night. The sun is shining. There's a park opposite me here, and there's the car park is full with people walking the dogs and enjoying this spring evening. So you're probably stuck indoors somewhere listening to this Mancunian. So can I just say a big thank you for taking 2 hours out of your schedule. I take that seriously, and this evening I'm going to share some real gems with you. If you're new to me, then hopefully you'll come away with lots of new ideas. If you've been on some of my courses before, then it'll be a great refresher for you. And as Mish has said, it's been a privilege to know Mish, Avi, and Cam, and everyone else that's in your family. Some of the most forward-thinking, some of the most nicest guys that I've worked with in my 28 years career. And like I said, I was just chatting to Mish before we started. Mish's dad, who's, I don't know, late 60s now, is coming back up to the centre here in Manchester in a couple of weeks, and we've just sorted out with a hotel. But an amazing character, real privilege to know him. So I'm looking forward to meeting up with him again for real in just a couple of weeks' time. So here's what we're going to focus on this evening. I'm just checking the chat box just to see if everything's okay. Oh, good. Yes, everyone can hear me. That's great. So this is what we're going to do this evening. And I confess, even though I've delivered training now for the best part of 28 years, I probably spent a good a whole day on these slides spread over the last 3 days. So my goal is to give you some real gems, like I said. So here's what we're going to focus on this evening. The importance of following up with patients. So I'm going to share with you a real tip on that. How life is about relationships. Success, we're going to talk a little bit about that if you really want to be doing more Invisalign, more cosmetic treatments, a lot of it is about having lots of conversations. We're going to talk a little bit about that this evening. And then going to share with you the 8 steps to a perfect consultation. That's the 8 steps that we teach on my 2-day ethical sales communication course. So I'll give you a quick overview of what those 8 steps are. We're then going to look at a couple of those steps, and we're going to go a little bit deeper into them, probably more than I've ever done before on a webinar like this. So particularly the importance of asking questions. And if there's a couple of you who are really brave, who really would like, I hate to oversell and underdeliver, but possibly some life-changing coaching. If you two of you want to take part in a mini consultation, and I can coach and watch you and train you this evening, then we will do that at the end of the presentation. So around about 20 past 8, half 8-ish, we will, I'll give 2 of you a unique opportunity to work with me live, which I very rarely do outside my classroom. And I'm going to talk to you a little bit about a very special program I'm going to be running with Dr. Jaswinder Gill in October in London. If you're really serious about wanting to take your figures to the next level, then I'm going to work with share with you possibly the very best offer I've ever made to work with me during my 28-year career. So that's what we're going to cover this evening. There's a lot to get through. For the people that don't know me, and I believe there is something like 800 people registered for this, and quite a lot of new people. But the people that not sure a little bit about me, I have this is my 29th year as a business trainer. So February 2021, I entered my 29 years, but 24 years solely just working in the dental market. I'm going to share my story with you because in about 3 minutes, I'm going to give you probably one of the most important lessons, one of the most important lessons I can give you on this program this evening. And my career started in dentistry when I was delivering a sales training course just up the road here in a place called Worsley. And I had something like 20 delegates on the course from all sorts of industries, from engineering, from IT, recruitment, radio, right down. And but right at the bottom of the list, we had 2 dentists on the course. And I was like racking my brains why 2 dentists were taking a sales training course with me. So I got to meet these 2 dentists a few hours before the course, and they told me that they were great dentists. They could place implants, crowns, veneers, teeth whitening. They could do all the dentistry. But what they couldn't do was sell it. What they couldn't do was communicate it. They were pretty awful at discussing fees. So if the fee was £500, by the time it came out of the mouth, it was £450. And they were constantly reducing the fee in their heads, and they were doing this several times a day. So they took part in this course with me, and as they left the program on the second day at 5 o'clock, I asked them how was it, and they put the thumbs up, but I didn't see amazing enthusiasm, if the truth be known. So as they left and walked out the door, I said to them, I'll tell you what I'll do, I'll give you a ring in 6 weeks just to see how the program went for them, because I was just curious. 6 weeks later, I'm lying on the couch at home wondering how those 2 dentists got on. Should I ring them? Should I not? Should I ring them? Should I not? Anyway, I picked the phone up, and those 2 phone calls basically changed my life, because both of those dentists told me that their treatment plan acceptance had increased. More patients were saying yes. But the main thing they told me was, for the first time ever, they were delivering the dentistry they loved to do and their patients wanted. Their books were full and they weren't discounting anymore. And that was the key lesson for the first time ever. And that really sort of rang home with me. And before I knew it, they told their friends. And 6 weeks, or just a few weeks later, I delivered my first ever, we called it the Ethical Sales and Communication course. I delivered that in Oxford. We had 26 dentists on the course. And I rang every single one of those dentists up over a period of 3 or 4 weeks, just to see how the program went, just to see how it was going. And everyone said the same. And their treatment plan acceptance had increased, more patients saying yes. And at the end of those calls, I sort of figured that I might be onto something here. So first couple of years, slow burner, but then after about 3 years, I decided to get serious full time. And for the last 20 odd years plus, I've now trained and coached well over 25,000 delegates on my 2-day ethical sales and communication course. We run 9 different programs here from our training centre here in Manchester and London. So we probably doubled that numbers on our courses. Anything from presentation, ethical selling to entrepreneur. We have a practice manager club now, and I've delivered close on 34,000 hours of actually live training in my centres all around the world in 14 different countries. So the question I always ask myself is, am I glad I made those 2 phone calls? And the answer, of course, is yes. Now, the reason why I'm talking about this story, and if 1 or 2 of you have heard the story before, I do apologize. But the most important thing, one of the most important lessons I can share with you is you've got to follow up with your patients. You've got to follow up with them if they're having treatment with you, just to see how things are going. But you've also got to follow up with them if they come in for a consultation and they don't go ahead with you. So last week, I did an in-house course for one of the leading Invisalign providers in the UK, one of the top UK providers of Invisalign. I've worked with this practice several times. And one of the things that we were talking about was actually following up patients. So this is a patient that's come to see you for a consultation, but maybe they don't buy from you there and then. Maybe they don't take up the treatment. Now, there are a couple of reasons why they don't. Well, there could be a few reasons why they don't take up the treatment, but the main one is this. And you might want to write this down if you've got a pen and paper, but the reason why they're not buying now is because the problem that they have doesn't justify yet the investment of both time and money. So let me repeat that again. The reason why they're not going ahead is because the problem isn't big enough yet to justify the investment of both time and money. And so that's the reason why they're not going ahead. Now, so what have you got to do? Sorry, Melissa, I've just seen your question answers there. It's hard for me to read the questions and speak at the same time. The books are not available on Audible. We're working on it. So you can get them from my website here. The 2 books, Don't Wait for the Tooth Fairy, and You Are Worth It, How to Discuss Fees with Self-Confidence. But we do have other Audible ways, and I'll go through that with you at the end of the session. So let me repeat that again. The investment of the problem that they have, which is i.e. crooked teeth, isn't big enough yet to justify the investment of both time and money. Now, what you guys need to do, if that happens and the patient doesn't buy, you've got to keep in touch with them. Now, I can do a whole webinar on that just alone on how to keep in touch, but it could be various ways, of course, social media, the odd phone call, something in the post. Because why? Why have you got to keep in touch? Because you want to be around when they wake up one day and decide now is the time. And it's not it's not up to them to remind them of you. It's up to you to remind them of them, if that makes sense. So you have to keep in touch. Recently, this video, by the way, is on YouTube. If you go to my YouTube channel, you will see it. But we had a dentist recently who bought my books 10 years ago, had received my newsletter for 10 years. And it's taken him 10 years from purchasing my books to actually deciding to take my 2-day ethical sales and communication course. That's 10 years. And at the end, regretted every single one of those 10 years and wished he took it earlier, nearly was in tears. I actually videoed him saying that, and he was quite happy for you to see that on YouTube, which is why you have to keep in touch with patients, either when they're going having treatment with you, because that's just the right thing to do. And of course, if they don't buy from you, you must have a system of keeping in touch. This practice, who are, by the way, one of the leading numbers of Invisalign providers in the UK, tend to not keep in touch and give up after about 4 to 5 months. And you need to keep up for as long as it takes. That's my view on the subject, because you want to be around when they're ready to buy, when the problem's bigger. So I hope that's been useful. A little bit personally about me. I'm delighted to have relationships with Mish and Avi and their family for well over 10 years now. And I've got clients who've been using me 20 years plus. But the relationship I'm proud of the most is with my wife and my children, celebrating 24 years of marriage in July. People often ask me, how do you keep a 24-year marriage going? Well, being away 100 nights a year does help. But we've got through lockdown. We're still married. And I've got 2 daughters, Enrica and Martina. And when I'm not doing this, I love cycling and walking up the hills somewhere with a rucksack on my back. And it's something that I try and do more and more of nowadays. And I often speak to dentists, and they always tell me that when they're millionaires and they're rich, they're going to do all these hobbies and all the things. But I say do it now. Do those things now, because live each day for the moment. So just a little bit of why I'm qualified. I probably helped many dentists become diamond or platinum or gold within Invisalign. I worked with 27 practices, over 100 delegates in 2019 with Align Technology, and we helped them, a lot of them get from platinum to diamond, and this is the sort of results that we saw, of 150% growth. And if it wasn't for lockdown, I would have done 3 further programs last year. So just to give you an idea of, and I'm going to share with you this evening, like I said, some of the things that we cover on that course. So what is ethical sales? Well, here's what I'm going to do tonight. I'm going to do something really different. Something different. I'm going to teach you the selling process. There is an ethical selling process. And then I'm going to teach you how not to sell and allow the patients to buy. So I probably confused you like crazy with what I've just said, but you need to understand the selling process. Then I'm going to teach you how not to sell, but then I'm going to show you by doing this really well, you can get your patients to buy. There you are. I've kept you intrigued there, so you're going to have to stay the whole 2 hours. But here's my very, very quick definition of ethical sales. So here's the 4-minute training session. Ethical sales is really doing many things well, but you could do 4 things. If you do these 4 things extremely well, you're not going a million, not far wrong. And it's building rapport with the right type of patient. So the key word there is right. And the word right is someone who's genuinely interested in improving their smile. And the good news is that my clients are absolutely having record weeks, days, weeks, and months at the moment. There seems to be an absolute mini boom in particularly Invisalign treatments, but all sorts of cosmetic treatments at this moment in time, whether it's because people have seen their smile on Zoom for the last 12 months and been zoomed up and don't like what they see, or possibly, or a bit of that, but also the fact that we can all go out very shortly or going out now, so they want to improve the smile, and also they've got the money to do it as well, because people can't go on holiday, but they can invest in themselves. So there is a boom at the moment. I was chatting to a really good client and friend of mine of 15 years yesterday, and he said he thinks it's going to continue, but as the people can get away on holiday more and everything else, then you've got increased competition for this. But at the moment, these things seem to be going really well. Now, the other key word there, of course, is building relationships. The most important part of the selling process is rapport. Without rapport, there's no trust. If there's no trust, the sale won't proceed. So what I'm going to do this evening is show you, in my opinion, the 2 very, very best ways of connecting with your patient and how to get them to like you and get them to really like you with just in the first few seconds. Because I think, in my opinion, it's the first few seconds that the patient are deciding whether they're going to go ahead with you or not. The first 2 or 3 minutes, they're making their mind up. Do I like this person? Do I feel like I'm comfortable? Have they got my best interests at hand? So rapport is the most important part. And I'll share with you, like I said, some tips on the best ways I know of connecting with people. The second thing, of course, is finding out what their problems are. We are problem solvers. The more problems you solve, the more successful you will become. If I look at the most successful of my clients, the ones that are doing the most Invisalign cases, who are making the most income, who are enjoying life, they're solving more patients' problems at the fees that they deserve. That's the key thing there. They're solving more problems. And to solve problems, we need to ask questions. The third part of ethical selling is creating a win-win. We're providing a solution or solutions to the patient's problems. That's what we do. We're problem solvers. That's what I do each day. I've worked with, like I said, nearly 26,000 dentists on my 2-day course. I've helped them become better communicators, allowing them to have more patients saying yes, to allow them to deliver the dentistry they love to do. So that's what I do. I solve their problems. And the fourth part, and you do the same, you solve your client's problems. And the fourth part is when you go back to your client, the patient, and say, well, here's your problem. Here's the best solution or solutions. How does this sound? And hopefully they come back and say, that's exactly what I want. So sales, I'm going to teach you how to sell, but I'm also going to teach you how not to sell, because it's, like I said, I don't make it too complicated, but ethical sales, when it's done really well, it's not about hard selling. It's not about pushing or cajoling. It really is about connecting with people, understanding what their problems are, and then providing the correct solutions. And once you've got that, you've got the commitment, you've got a win-win relationship. But here's a game changer for some of you. Some of you may be NHS dentists wanting to do more private. Some of you might be private dentists that want to do more Invisalign cases. But really what it's about is having lots of conversations. And the more conversations you have, the more opportunities you'll create. And the more opportunities you'll create, the more treatments you will do. But what you need to accept is that as you seek out opportunities and as you ask questions and have consultations, along the way, a lot of people will say no to you, but that's fine. So if you want to hear more yeses, often you need to hear the word no as well, if that makes sense. But that's okay. And I will put it to you that I was following up with a dentist who took one of my ethical sales and communication courses recently on the phone. And I asked, it was a her actually, I said, what was the main reason why your private has gone up, 5-fold? And she says, I just have more conversations and more people say no to me. But along the way, each day, somebody's actually saying yes to something. So it's about actually having lots of conversations with people. So what's important? Well, you need 3 traits to be successful in a consultation. Now, the first trait, Mish mentioned it at the start. I think he nearly mentioned that he's helped him do the dentistry. Well, I've definitely not done that bit. That's not the bit I don't do. But so what the bit you do need, obviously, is the technical skill of doing the dentistry. So the technical skill of doing the dentistry, that's the key. But in a consultation, about 90% of your success is down to these two areas here. And these are skills and these are attitudes. So the skill of listening, the skill of asking really good questions, the skill of building relationships and being able to talk about the benefits of what you provide. You've got to be good at overcoming price objections. Attitudes important, positivity, flexible, adaptable, really being enthusiastic and positive. Those are the traits that a patient sees when they're in a consultation. And I'll share, like I said, I'll share with you some key skills that you can use instantly tomorrow. But what I found, what I've discovered is that most dentists spend most of the time learning the technical skills, but spend very little time learning the skills and attitude. And 85% of your financial success will come down to the skills and attitude. Your dentistry has got to be good. The patients will want that, but also what you need to back up with is the skills and attitude. And let me share with you an example of what I mean. So about 15 years ago, it was about this time of the year, it was about May, it was springtime. And a friend of mine who's a builder came round to my house one day and asked me if I was interested in investing into this house. He took me in his car, we went to see it. And so basically we were buying this house for 100 grand. We needed to spend, well, he needed to spend 50 on it. That's what he reckons the cost would be to rebuild the house. But he reckons he could sell it for 200. Now, I looked at it and I thought, you know, why not? This is my first venture into property. Now, my part was financing it. He was a great builder, brilliant at what he did. Not the best businessman in the world, didn't have the finance, but I could borrow the money against my house and invest in this property. So I contacted 2 banks at the time. My bank was the NatWest Bank. I contacted them and I contacted 2 banks. The other bank was the Royal Bank of Scotland. Now, the 2 ladies came round to my house. Now, I actually have my current account with the Royal Bank of Scotland. And they, at the time, it was before I had this training centre, so I worked from home in an office. We had a little bit of chit chat. And then one of them turned around to me and said, Mr. Latta, what is it you do for a living? And I said, well, you've been my bankers for 18 years. Do you not know? And she said, no, because we're commercial lending and not current. And so they didn't know what I did. So I had to explain to my existing bank what I did. And they stayed for about 45 minutes. We talked about what they could offer. And then they left some leaflets and then left. It was very, very matter of fact, nothing exciting at all about the appointment. Now at 4 o'clock, the Brian Hargreaves came from the NatWest Bank. Now, I was not a customer of the NatWest Bank. I did a lot of sales training with them in the northwest of England, but I was not a customer. So Brian came in, a little bit of chit chat, and then turned around and said, I hope you don't mind. I looked at your website last night. What a great website. How did you get involved in sales training or communication training in dentistry? So I shared with him the story and I talked about what I did, and he asked more questions about this. And he got me talking about myself. And of course, myself is my favorite subject. So he built a real good rapport with me. He noticed I was a Man United fan, and he was a fan, and we had talked a little bit about football. And then he got into what I was looking for, what I was really interested in. So I told him about this building proposition, a friend of mine, what I was looking for, went through the whole deal with him, and we were going to sell it and make some money, and etc. And he went through some more questions with me, came up with a solution, and I was like, yeah, that's exactly what I want. And turned around and asked me for the commitment. He said, you know, I've got some paperwork here. Should we get started? Now, at the time, I hadn't even discussed this with my wife, and of course, she's the joint owner of my house, or our house, so I needed to discuss it with her. So he said, don't worry, Mr. Latter, why don't I come round this evening and I can talk it through with your wife, and if everything, it looks like you need the money quickly, and if she's keen, we can get the paperwork sorted out this evening. Now, of course, I was delighted because he was working in my best interest, speed. He came around that evening, completed the paperwork. We had 2 days later, we had a survey around our house. And I would say that every third or fourth day, I got a phone call with the progress report on how we were getting on. At the time, I was just about to go on holiday. It was sometime in June. And he got a phone call in June, and the whole deal had been completed. And from start to finish, we got our money. I think it was in 4 weeks. And we bought the house, and we did very well from it. That relationship is still ongoing today. It's 15 years later. Brian's moved on, but we still have some sort of contact. But today, I have 7 pieces of business with the National Westminster Bank, varying from various mortgages to my current account, my business account, some other accounts I've got, a little bit of property and things like that. And that's all stemmed from one brilliant appointment made by Brian Hargreaves many years ago. You see, he had all the technical knowledge. They had the same technical knowledge as the 2 ladies that came before. But what he demonstrated was how great it was at building rapport, how good he was at asking questions, solving our problems, but how keen he was to make all this happen. He went above the call of duty. And because of that, now we've had, like I said, a relationship that's lasted over 15 years. So it's the skills and attitude that people see in a consultation. And we're going to focus on those areas this evening. I can't help you with the technical ability, but what I can help you with is the areas that you've come on this evening. But here's an exercise that I would like you to do now. Okay, it's an exercise I'd like you to do now. So we're going to go quiet. Now, because of time, normally an exercise, I'd probably give you about 5 minutes to do this in, but you're going to have to do it in 2 minutes. So I'm going to stop the clock for 2 minutes, start the clock, sorry. And I want you to write a letter as if you are the patient. And I want you to write the letter, to start the letter, and it says, "Dear Doctor, whatever your name is," whatever your name is. And I want you to write a letter as if you are the patient with a problem that braces can solve, Invisalign or any other treatment like that can solve. And I want you to write a letter and describe what a day is like in your life. Okay, so what is it like when you jump on a Zoom call? What is it like when you go to the shops? What is it like when you socialize or go to the pub or a restaurant? Hopefully we'll be doing these things now. But what I'd like you to do is write a letter, but just for a period of time write the letter really quick. Okay, so I'm going to give you about 2.5 minutes or so. Give me time to have a rest my voice for a little bit. Just take some water. And then when I come back in about 2.5, 3 minutes, we're going to see why, I'm going to share with you why we wrote the letter and what the purpose of it is. So you've got 3 minutes, write your letter, go. Okie dokie. So, quick 2 minutes there. Why should you write the letter? Why have I got you to write the letter? Well, I was quick. I do apologise. Probably haven't given you enough time. But what I want you to do is carry on with the exercise after the webinar this evening, but really go deep into what it's like to be that patient, what it's like to be a patient, and what is it like to walk in their shoes. So why have I got you to write the letter? Okay, well, there's a couple of reasons. The reason I've got you to write the letter, thank you, there's a great example of this, is because, well, a couple of reasons. The first thing is that, number one, is you have patients like this walking into your surgery every day. You have patients like this walking into your surgery every day. The second reason why I got you to write the letter, I was working with a practice just about 3 months ago. Sorry, not 3 months ago, a couple of months ago. It was an in-house course. Great people, great practice, doing really well. And one of the, it was a one-day course. One of the dentists, the owner of the dentist, openly admitted that because sometimes they have lots of consultations, the ones at the back end of the day can be a bit draining. You say the same things, his words were, sometimes get slightly boring. And what I wanted to do is imagine when a patient like this is coming to see you in a consultation, imagine the letter, if they were to write to you, what it would be in it. And that they're coming to see you because they want something that's life-changing. They want something that's life-changing. And you have to put a life-changing experience for them. But the third reason I got you to write the letter is because your job is to find out what would be in their letter if they were coming to see you for a consultation. That makes sense. So the best story I can share with you, probably some of you have heard this before, I've been saying this now for about 6-7 years, is you have to, as any really good performance on at the theatre, and hopefully we'll all be going to the theatre very shortly. But when I went to the theatre once, I once was told by the lady who hold the torch, who takes people to your seats, and the reason why Billy Elliot was on for 12 years, and the reason why the show was so amazing in year 2, is because before they go on stage, actresses and actresses often say to themselves, let's perform like it's the first night, because these people have never seen the act before. And that's the same with your patients. If they come to see you for an Invisalign consultation, the chances are they may have never seen the act before. And you have to perform like it's the first night. You have to perform like it's the first consultation you've ever done, ever. And you have to be absolutely top drawer. Because every time I deliver a course, I always remember in my audience that half the audience have never seen the act before. And that's always held me in good stead. So always remember the letter that they would possibly write to you if they came to a consultation. What would be in their letter? You have to walk in their shoes. As Dale Carnegie said in his famous book, How to Win Friends and Influence People, you have to see things from the other person's point of view. You have to see things on them. And it's only when you do that, then are you able then to deliver a world-class consultation. But always remember as well is that you can really grow your cosmetic treatment, your Invisalign cases with your existing patients. I cannot tell you how many times I follow up with dentists who take my course and I ask them what's been the best thing that's worked well, and they often turn around and say, well, the best opportunity I've had is with a patient who's been with me for 10 years. I've asked them some questions and they've come back and told me things they want to change. And when they turn around and said to the patient, how come you never told me this before? The patient often says, well, you've never asked, or I didn't know it could be done. So always remember there's great opportunities with your existing patients as well. The other thing about attitude, and I'd like to share a very, very personal story that happened to me. I read the Sunday Times at the weekend, and we're supposedly in a recession, although we're about to come out of it and probably go back into it. So we're not sure whether the recession is happening or not. But I do remember when I first started working for Dale Carnegie training, and this is going back 28 years, before I delivered their courses, I used to sell them, but I used to sell them anyway, but I used to sell the programs in Trafford Park and Manchester. That was the area that I worked in. And in my first year within Carnegie, I wasn't doing very well. In fact, if there was 8 salespeople in the Northwest, I was number 8. In fact, I was very consistent the whole year. I was number 8 the whole year for the first 18 months of my career. I remember in the first year, I think my income was about £6,500. So pretty consistent. And my sales director, we had a meeting, and he asked me what was my reason for my poor results. And I turned around and said, well, there's a recession on, Dave, and people in Trafford Park are having hard times and they don't want to invest in training. And he turned around to me and said something, and it was a dagger in the heart, but actually probably one of the most important lessons I've ever learned. And I'm going to share that lesson with you this evening. And what he said was, he said, well, Paul's doing really well. Mark's doing great in Liverpool. He's having a record year with Brendan. Amanda's doing really well, and so is Tracy. In fact, everyone's doing really well except for you. So why don't you decide not to take part in the recession? Because no one else is here. And when he said that, it really was a tough love message. It hurt me, but actually he really was right, because I was actually taking part in the recession and I was believing everything that was going on in the world. And one of the best quotes I've ever heard was from Henry Ford. And whether you think you can, you can. Whether you think you can't, you can't. Either way, you are right. So if you decide that patients in my area don't buy Invisalign treatment, they cannot afford it. Well, I can guarantee one thing, they won't. If you think your patients, you're in an area where they don't think they'll afford private treatment, I can guarantee one thing, they won't. So it really is, a lot of it's down to your attitude and how you think about things. One of my favorite clients is a lady called Catherine McCanny. She's an orthodontist in Wakefield. And I've worked with Catherine now the best part of 18, 19 years. She's a very, very good friend as well as a client as well. She's done some sort of training with me every year. And I was chatting to her recently because I was putting a presentation together for Align Technology and helping them to sell more of their Invisalign for teenagers. And I was doing an interview with her recently, and she's doing some great numbers now. And I said, well, what changed? What made you go from like nil to doing lots of cases? And this is what she said. He said, well, I first went on the course and I first got to know about it. I just made my mind up that people in Wakefield would not buy Invisalign for their kids. It just would not happen. I went on the course, and through coaching from my salespeople and my rep who went to see me, I decided one thing, that we were going to give this a go, and that actually patients would buy it. And now she's doing some great numbers, and she's loving the treatment. The patients are loving the treatment. But the only thing that changed was the message that went on in her head. She just decided that people in Wakefield would buy Invisalign treatment, both for adults and for the teenagers as well. So attitude has a lot to do with everything in your consultations, in your whole life. It's how you think about life. And like I said, that message that I got there, actually stop taking part in the recession, is something I think about every single day. And I try and not make circumstances blame for my results. Wherever you are, whichever area of the UK you are, you can do this. If that makes sense. So quick message there. That's just some stuff there on attitude. So let's have a very quick recap on what we've covered here so far. If you've just joined us or joined us a little bit late, the importance of following up, not just with patients who are having the treatment, but with patients who've come for consultations who didn't buy. Have a system of keeping in touch, because you want to be around when they're ready to buy. Okay, when they're ready to buy, they want to be thinking of you. And it's the people that keep in touch will be the ones that have long-term success. Ethical sales is really about doing 4 things really well. It's that building that rapport with the right type of patient. It's finding out problems, solving the problems, and then getting commitment. It's this test close. How does all this sound? We're all doing this every single day. The more conversations you have, the more problems you'll occur, the more you will opportunities you will create. But except along the way, some patients won't be interested. I find in my business, interesting enough, the people that need my courses the most never buy. It'll be the same with your clients. I have clients who are so successful, who keep coming back all the time, every 6 months, 8 months, every year, because they just want to be 1% better. They don't need to come back. The ones that need you the most don't often buy. And it'll be the same with your clients. You will have conversations with clients. You know you could make a big difference, but it's just not for them. But along the way, you will create more opportunities. 85% of your success, 90% of your financial success is down to your skills and attitude. Remember the Brian Hargreaves story and what he did. I handed the deeds to my house at a first meeting with a banker who I'd never met before. That's what rapport can do. That's when you do this really well. It builds amazing trust, and we still have a relationship 15 years later. Remember the letter. And remember, your job is not only to find out what would be on their letter if they wrote one, but also to perform like it's the first night. And remember my most important lesson that was given to me 28 years ago. So let's look at the 8 steps to a perfect consultation. This works whether you are face-to-face with patients, and this works whether you are on a Zoom call as well. Slightly more challenging on a Zoom call because the patient can press a button and you're out. But all this works really well. And the first part of the process, the selling process, is what I call preparation and the building of rapport. Now, preparation is everything that you do before the patient comes through the door. And then, of course, you build rapport. The next step in the selling process is asking permission to ask questions and then find out what the patient's wants and needs are. We then look at, do the examination, and then we provide a solution. Now, we've got to identify what the problem is and then provide the solution to meet the patient's problems. That's what we're about. And we use that with various evidence. I know you've got the iTeria scan now, so patients can see what they can look like at the end. And then you have to discuss the fees with self-confidence. There's always objections. Patients always have objections. They have them before they come in or they have them during the consultation. And you need to overcome objections, and often these are price objections. And then there's what I call the commitment step, moving forward and following up, getting referrals, 5-star Google reviews, testimonials, and things like that. The first part of the process is, of course, building rapport. And the most important part is this, is connecting, having a deep connection with your patients. Dale Carnegie, who I was very fortunate to work for 9 years, not only was I a salesman for them, I delivered their courses, but I was also eventually became an international master trainer. So I went around the world training trainers to become trainers. So I was very, very fortunate at some time in my life. I met all the directors, but I actually also met Dorothy Carnegie, who's the lady in the front of that book picture there. So Dale Carnegie's book, How to Win Friends and Influence People, is the third biggest selling book of all time. Does everybody know what the other two are? No, it's not these two. I just thought I'd confuse you. Yeah, of course, it's the Bible and the Alex Ferguson autobiography. No, it's the Quran. Okay, so, but great book. You should read, or should read How to Win Friends and Influence People. So one of the principles is have a burning desire to be genuinely interested in people. What I've learned in life is that most people love to talk about themselves. It's one of the best ways I know of building and connecting with people, building that rapport. And if you look back at the Brian Hargreaves, when he came round to see me, one of the things he did was he got to learn a little bit about me before he came in and brought that up into conversation, and we spent the first 15 minutes talking about my business. So that's how you really connect with people, is if you can know a little bit about the patient before they come in, use it in the conversation, and you can connect with building rapport. One of my favorite stories on rapport building was a dentist called Simon. He's got a practice down in Bournemouth. He did several courses with me over a couple of years, and received an inquiry on a Friday evening. He instantly replied back. So can I just say that he instantly replied back. Now, I'm not saying you should have your iPad and replying to inquiries, but you really want to be replying to inquiries as quick as you possibly can. Normally, I find the quicker you do it, the more likely it is for you to secure the appointment and the long-term patient. And over the weekend, emails are going back and forth. And actually, what the patient was interested in was implant treatment. Now, the patient was made an appointment, was coming in on the Tuesday. I think it was about the first appointment. And the night before, Simon was getting ready, remembered this patient coming in. Don't know why, but when referred back to the email correspondence they had, and actually noticed that the patient was a professional speaker. Now, this patient and my client, Simon, was holding a referral evening in a few weeks, had just taken my one-day presentation skills course, so I had an interest in becoming a good speaker. It was really of importance to him. because he wanted to make a really, really good impression on the first night of this referral evening. The next day, the patient came in. He sat the patient down on the chair and started talking about his website, what a great speaker he was, and how did he get involved in that, got any tips. And now, when I talk about this story, I normally get a 50-50 split in the room, where 50% of the people say stalker and 50% of the people say wow. Well, what I do know is that patient signed up to a treatment plan into 5 figures. And so what did Simon do well? Well, he built amazing rapport. He found out a little bit about the patient and complimented him on his great speaking skills and built that connection, built that rapport. And the second thing he did was he paid a compliment. So this is a picture of my wife and children, my 2 daughters. This was taken in Mexico a couple of years ago. And as you can see, I punch way above my weight. That's my wife, Graciela. The youngest one next to me is Martina. She's definitely mine. The one with the glasses is Enrica. Doesn't look much like me, but definitely looks like her mum. So, but anyway, so my wife's Italian, by the way, so you can tell with the names, Enrica and Martina, I had absolutely no say in the names of my 2 daughters. So this is our favorite picture. It's on our wall in our lounge. And about 18 months ago, my daughter, who had a boyfriend for a few months, who we'd never met, I'd been away for a week, and one day I came home, walked into my house, and my wife said, Grace said to me, oh, Enrica's boyfriend's here, Reese, you need to go and introduce yourself to him. So I'm now meeting my daughter's boyfriend for the very first time. So recalling back to when I met my father-in-law for the very first time, who's Sicilian. And I was a bit apprehensive. So I wonder how this boy was about meeting me. But I didn't need to worry about that at all, because as I walked into my lounge, he was sort of spread across 2.5 seats and was very comfortable sitting in my settee. And I said, nice to meet you. And he went, nice to meet you. And so my first impressions weren't that great, if the truth be known. But things changed about 2 minutes later when he complimented this picture of us on the wall, and my picture of my wife and my 2 daughters. And then he complimented me and asked me if I did a bit of weight training, because I looked pretty trim on that picture. Now, I instantly took a liking to him. Why? Because he paid a compliment. So the best way I know of connecting with clients is become genuinely interested, particularly if you've got some background information about the patient before they come in. And if you can get the odd compliment there and do it sincerely, then you will make friends and really connect with your patient. So there's a little bit of stuff on rapport. So here's something I see. I visit, well, before lockdown, I was visiting about 2 or 3 practices, a couple of practices a month, doing courses, probably sometimes more. And here's something I see often. I see this at reception desk, I see this over the phone, and I see dentists do this as well. And what happens is a patient might make an inquiry about teeth whitening or express an interest and ask for how much is it and what does it cost and what's involved. And then I hear whoever that person is, it could be the receptionist, it could be the dentist, it could be a treatment coordinator, launch into this type of presentation where they start talking about the 2 ways of doing it, how they take an impression, how they send the whole system to a lab and it comes back and it's you wear molds or gum shields. And then they talk about putting bleach in gum shields and asking the patient to wear it overnight in bed or for 4 hours a day for 2 to 3 weeks. And then they talk about that it might be sensitivity, but don't worry, they're going to give them some sensitivity toothpaste, and they just get all this off their chest. And then they say there's a special offer, and here's the leaflets. And then the patient who's confused about everything that's just been said, is walking out with leaflets. And that's normally how I see it. And I see this all the time, everywhere I go. Not just about teeth whitening, by the way, but about other treatments as well. So let's just think about the words we say to patients, and then we're going to talk about the advantages of asking questions. First of all, we talk about impressions. We then say the word labs. Most people think labs are dog. Then we talk about gum shield and bleach, which most people think bleach is what we put down toilets, and trays. And then within 3 minutes, we tell them it's going to hurt. Can you see what we say to them? And can you see what's on their letter? I know it sounds mad, but if you think about what's on their letter and what we say to them. So what's happened here? Well, a couple of things, really. First of all, we're talking about process when it's not ready yet. But the other thing is, and this is one of the biggest mistakes I see in sales. By the way, I've trained, before I got involved in dentistry, which is 24 years ago now, the last 22 years, I've just solely worked with dentistry. But before that, this was also a biggest mistake most salespeople make. But this is definitely the biggest mistake made in dentistry. And that's when you talk about what you do without truly finding out what your patient's wants and needs are. Is you talk about what you do without truly finding out what your patient's wants and needs are. And because of this, you're potentially missing out on thousands and thousands of pounds worth of opportunities. And here is an example. If you imagine that you went to a GP, you had a serious problem, you weren't well, and the GP sat in front of you and asked you what your problem was. And whilst he or she is listening to you, he's actually writing out a prescription. And when you've finished, he or she, the doctor, hands that prescription to you. How would you feel? How would you feel? Can I answer that question at the end, Asha? It's a good question. So the question is, how is it done? How do I avoid answering the question? You gave example of overwhelming the patients with teeth whitening information. I'm required to tell them the limitations and risks. You are. You do that. You'll see in a moment. Okay. Let me do what I'm going to teach you, and then you'll see how it's done. It's a good question. Okay. It's a great question, and I will come to that. I promise. Keep with there. Okay. What are the advantages of asking questions? Well, there are many advantages of asking questions. And if there's anybody sort of new maybe tonight that has never maybe heard me speak before, or first time, who would like some live coaching, I can pick 2 of you this evening and I can work with you. But let's first of all look at the advantages of asking questions. The first one, it really does, it builds stronger relationships. So the more questions you ask, the more the patient is talking, the more rapport you've got, the stronger the relationship. So that's without doubt. That's what happens when you when you ask questions. The second thing it does is it creates opportunities. If you ask questions to existing patients, if there's anything at all that you'd like to change or improve about smiling, so what would it be? Then they will tell you. So you'll create opportunities. The third thing is that if a patient's interested in certain treatments, you can find out the why, what the emotional reasons are behind their decision. And it shows you care. It shows you are really connecting with them, and you can find out the patient's problems. You can find out what the patient's problems are. So there's many advantages. I'm hearing you for the first time. It's amazing to listen to you. Thank you. I appreciate that. Thank you very much. Maybe you can be, it's another question there. Oh, it's the same question. So yeah, so if a patient's coming to you for a consultation about an Invisalign, for example, then you can find out their story, the why now, how long they've been thinking about it for, and the why now. So there are, okay, now on my 2-day ethical sales and communications course, we spend 5 hours on this topic. We go through all the questions that you ask. We go through all the emotional reasons that patients buy, and you build up this picture. But we haven't got time, so we're going to do this in 5 minutes. But even in 5 minutes, you should be able to make some progress. So when you ask questions, there are 2 types of questions that you ask. The first one, of course, is open questions. Give me a second. And the second one, of course, are closed questions. Now, closed questions, you can only get yes or no. So ideally, you want to be asking open questions. The more open you get, the more conversation you're going to have with the client, with the patient. Now, the 4 types of questions that you ask, okay? So the first set of questions are what I call the current situation questions. So the current situation questions are, how is the patient now? Where is the patient now? What is it they'd like to change or improve about their smile now? So it's how are things now? That's called the current situation. That's where the patient is as they are now. The second type of questions we ask are what I call the desired situation questions. Now, desired is where would you like to be? So if we had a magic wand, where would you like to be? What difference would you like to make? What would you like to see? What's your vision for your smile? If we had a magic wand, what would you like to see? So now you've got from the current, now you've got from the desired. The third set of questions are what I call, Mrs. Jones, how long have you been thinking about this treatment for? But why now? What's the reason? Do you have an event or something coming up, a social event coming up where this is really important to you? So it's why they want the treatment now. It's why now? Okay, there's always a reason. You want to be finding out. Don't forget, your job is to find out what the patient's problems are, So now you summarize. Okay, so now you summarize. Now, what is summarize? Well, summarize is when you play back to the patient exactly what they have just told you. Okay, so you play back to the patient exactly what they have told you. So you go back and say, so Jane, would you mind if I summarize what you've just told me? Now, when you say that, the patient will say, yes, of course. So there's your first yes. Okay. So the current situation is you, I've got this tooth overlapping the ones at the top. It's a little bit crooked and you're not happy with the color. You think your teeth are a little bit stained. You drink a lot of red wine and a lot of black coffee. And what you're looking for is your teeth to be really, really white as we can get them. And you want the teeth to be really straight at the top. You've been thinking about this for a while now. But as you've been on these Zoom presentations recently, you've noticed that your teeth are not that nice. You notice that sometimes when you are on these conference calls, you're hiding away. You notice that people have got really nice teeth. And because you're going to be giving more presentations, you want to feel more confident when you are giving them. Have I got that about right? Now, during that time, your client is nodding and saying yes, yes, yes. Yes. So summarizing means your client saying yes. They're all in the habit of saying yes. So I teach, I think on my 2-day course, somebody once said to me, there's about 120 gems over the 2 days, but he says that's one of them. And what that one is what I call the summarizing. When you summarize back to the client what they have just told you. And when you do that, patients love it because it shows you've listened. It shows that you really care. The fourth thing you do, and it all depends on the personality style of your patient, of course, is you ask this question: what would it mean to you if we could do this for you? What would it mean to you if we could do this for you? Now, if you ask that question, they then start telling you the benefits they will gain by having your services. So what's happened? Well, the idea now becomes theirs. They've now bought into your treatment by telling you the benefits they will gain by having your treatment. So that's just a little sample of the part of the questioning process. Now, when I was putting this presentation together, I was thinking about what could I do this evening that is a little bit different, that that could really benefit the whole audience and could really get a lot from this. And I'm just wondering, if it's possible we could do this, James? Is it possible maybe we could get a couple of delegates to volunteer and I could coach them on this process? Is that possible? Or is it possible?
I'm thinking. I mean, they could maybe pop it in the question and answer section or in the chat. I could promote them to panelists.
I think that
I'll tell you what. There's James there. Well, if there's two people that would like to have a go, if we can't do this, hang on, there's somebody coming up. There's two people that I wonder if it's possible, but if not, then why don't you do it, Mish, with James, and we'll see how it works out. Is it possible, James? By the way,
I think you can.
I can certainly
allow people to speak, right?
There are people.
Yeah, so we've got Nadia
willing to go. So if I can,
Nadia and Orsa. Yes, yeah. Excellent ideas. We've got Nadia, Ahmed, and Orsa. I think that's spelled Fennelly, that wants to have a go. Is it possible we could get them to be involved?
Stand by.
Nadia, well done. And also, fantastic. Thanks, James. You're a star.
I hope they're ready to be on video.
Also, we need to see your video.
Or unmute themselves.
Yeah, so if you can, Nadia, Nadia, can you hear me?
Yes, how are you, Ashley?
I'm great. Yourself?
Yes, I'm good, thank you.
Good. Well done for volunteering. Also, are you getting involved?
Yeah. Okay.
Can we see you as well? Oh, there you are, also.
Yeah.
Okay. How are you?
I'm fine, thank you.
All right, brilliant. Now, everybody else that's watching this, I promise you're going to get amazing value from this exercise. I really mean that. And obviously no more than Nadia and Orsa as well. Also, you've got technology right there. Don't touch anything else now. We've got you sorted.
No. Okay.
Don't worry. I did about 130 odd webinars last year during lockdown and after, and I'm still struggling sometimes with the technology. So well done. Okay. So first of all, can I just say a massive thank you to both of you. I'm not sure also if you were volunteering. I just thought it was a good idea. But anyway, so but Nadia put her hand up first. So Nadia, you're going to be the dentist.
Okay.
Okay.
Okay. And also, you're going to be the patient.
Okay.
And now what's going to happen is, and this is how our courses work. This is what we do on the course. Okay. So I've sort of walked through some material with you. Okay. Now, what would normally happen is I would normally give an example of the material, or one of our team leaders would, and then you get to practice. Now, I'm feeling for you, Nadia, because you've only had a 5-minute lesson.
Okay.
You've not heard an example, and you've only had about a third. You've had a very small percentage of the material. So we're going to make this really easy for you. Now, Orsa, in a moment, is going to turn around to you and say, I'm very interested in having my teeth whitened. Can you tell me all about it, please, how it works and what's involved and what does it cost? Now, instead of what I normally see, a dentist launching into this presentation. What you're going to do, Nadia, under coaching from me, is you're going to follow this structure. Okay. So the first thing that you're going to say is teeth whitening is very popular. Would you mind if I ask you some questions? And then you're going to ask all these questions. Now, it's going to, obviously you're getting great development, but also it's going to be brilliant for everyone watching you here this evening. They're going to learn a lot as well. And I promise you, you'll be 6 inches taller in the next 10 minutes. Okay, you ready to go?
Yes, we're ready.
Okay, so also, you just expressed this interest in teeth whitening to Nadia.
Okay, Nadia, I've just had my teeth straightened and I would like them a little bit lighter in shade. And I know.
Having teeth straightened, and you just want some information, okay?
Okay, and I can warn you, grinding and clenching my teeth as well. So I'm a little bit of a difficult patient. Okay.
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 Now, Nadia, you just say, is it okay if I ask you some questions about it? Okay.
Thanks for coming to see me also. Is it okay if I ask you some questions about that?
That would be lovely. Thank you very much.
So there's the questions. They're on the screen.
Okay. So can you tell me a little bit about what your teeth are like at the moment?
They're quite okay, actually. No problems. I've just had fixed braces, and being a bit old, I've had the braces for the second time in my life due to teeth crowding. And when I had braces, I wasn't told that to wear retainers for lifetime. Okay.
So you've just finished your brace treatment. What would you like to improve with the whitening?
To my smile to look slightly better. Yeah.
Okay. So ask her how, on a scale of imagine you're showing her a mirror and sort of asking them how would she rate a smile now on a scale of 1 you're not happy, 10 you're delighted. What sort of ask her that question, then ask her how she'd like them to be. Yeah.
Okay, so here's a mirror also. We're just having a look at your teeth in the mirror. Could you tell me on a scale of 1 to 10, with 10 being the best, where would you rate your teeth at the moment?
Actually, about in the middle, I think.
So you think they're about 5 at the moment?
Probably, yeah.
Okay. And how long have you noticed?
How ask her how white she'd like them to be. What's a desired situation?
Okay. What would you like to have changed? How much whiter would you like them to be?
At least down to grade 2, 3, you know.
Okay.
Okay, so one is low, 10 is high. So you are 5 at the moment. How white would you like them to be?
How white would you like them to be also, if 10 is as white as
Okay, 1 then. Okay, 1 then.
No. Okay. So you're 10.
10
You're
is
10,
the
right.
whitest. 10 is the whitest also, and your teeth are 5 at the moment. So you want them to be a bit higher than 5, but between 5 and 10.
10.
10, okay. That's
Okay.
like Simon Cowell white.
Yeah.
Okay, how long have you noticed that your teeth have been like this?
About a few years, 10 years, maybe 20.
Wow, okay. And what has made you come to see me now? What is it recently that's made you want to have treatment?
It's probably the adverts on telly, friends. I'm a little bit older in life, so as you get older, you know, things happen. So.
And is there any special event that's coming up? Any particular reason? Have you got a time by which you want to have your treatment done?
Yes, my son's graduation for his master's.
Oh, excellent. When is that going to be?
Hopefully this summer.
In the summer. If COVID doesn't get in the way, fingers crossed, it's going to be in the summer. Excellent. Also, you've mentioned that you have just finished your brace treatment.
So, by the way, time out. How's she doing so far? Well done. This is great. Excellent. Really good. Now, what are you about to summarize back to her, Nadia? Yeah.
Yeah.
Now, also, is that tea you're drinking or whiskey?
Tea.
Tea. Okay, good. So what you do here, Nadia, is you're always saying, listen, thanks for sharing that with me. Would you mind if I just summarize what you just told me? Always ask that question first because you get a yes. So just ask that question first.
Okay. Also, would you mind if I summarize that back to you?
That would be no problem.
Okay, so you've come to see me today because you've just finished your brace treatment and you'd like your teeth to be whiter. You'd like your teeth on a scale of 1 to 10 to be as white as possible, which is 10, and you think that they're about a 5 now. You've noticed it for quite a while, about 10 to 20 years, you said. But as you've matured, you feel that you've become, it's become more noticeable for you. And you have got your son's graduation coming up this summer, fingers crossed, and you'd like to have your treatment done by then.
Yes, that's correct. Thank you very much.
And what would it mean to you if we could get your teeth to be 10 by the time it's your son's graduation?
That would be absolutely fantastic. Thank you.
Brilliant. Well done. Round of applause. Excellent. Not bad at all. Yeah, not bad at all. Well done, Nadia. Well done also. Okay, so let's have a quick recap of what Nadia did really well there. That was a good job. Well done for doing that. Excellent. First time I'm doing that. That's not bad at all. Not bad at all. Was that a good learning lesson for you, Nadia?
Yeah, it's good, and it's good to be live. It proves that we can still do this even if we're not in the same room.
Yeah. Can you see how it works on? Imagine this was a Zoom consult. How well it could still work on a Zoom consult as well. So let's just have a recap on what Nadia did there. So she obviously found out what the current situation is, where the patient is now. She asked where we should like to be. The patient says, I want to be a 10, and they had a joke about being Simon Cowell. But the question she asked was, how long been thinking about this for? Also 10 years, 20 years. Why now? Well, she mentioned two reasons. The first one, her friends had it done. So she probably noticed her friend's teeth were whiter. She noticed the TV programs as home. But the main factor behind that was the son's graduation and looking nice on the photographs. So when people are buying treatment from you, there's always a reason. And what Nadia did there was find out what the main reason was. And like I said, if we had more time and I went through all the material, she could have asked various different more types of questions. Now, did you see the value of the summarizing? So as soon as you turn around to the patient and said, would you mind if I summarized? Orsa said yes. And then she summarized back. And at the very end of all that, Orsa said yes. So she said yes at least twice during that consultation. And that summarizing is brilliant, because what summarizing does, it gets the patient nodding, and they start to say yes. Now, the last question, you can see, what would it mean to you if we could do this for you? Well, then she turned around and said, that would be fabulous, or that would be marvelous. And normally patients would say things like that, but also would say, you know, give me more confident, I'll be able to smile on the photographs. So can you see what's just happened, guys? I've told you about selling, but actually what we've done is I've told you how not to sell, and how not to sell is really the true skill of asking amazing questions. And when you ask questions and you become great listeners, then what happens is the clients start to buy the treatment from you. They start to buy the treatment from you. So it really is about and it's an amazing skill to have. And like I said, Nadia did actually really well, considering that was the first chance. So what is selling? Okay, so selling is not telling, it's asking. And the more questions you ask, the more opportunities you will create. The more you learn, the more you will earn. And that's the real value of asking questions. So this seems like a really good time, I think, to answer Ash's question. When a patient asks, how is it done? How to avoid answering the question? You gave the example of overwhelming the patient with teeth whitening information and required to tell them the limitations and risks. Absolutely. Well, the rule of thumb is never to tell anything about, never to discuss the treatment with the patient until you find out what the problem is first. That makes sense. So you find out what the problem is first, you summarize back to the patient what their problem is, and then you can then provide the patient with the correct solution, the solutions or solution. So the other advantage of asking questions is hopefully you can give them their correct solution, the one that they're looking for the best. So once you've done that, and once the patient is committed to you, then of course you can talk about the risks, consent, limitations, and everything else. The best analogy I can give you is this picture here. If you imagine I was a travel agent. Sorry guys, I need some water. This is my my third webinar today, so my voice is going. Give me a second. Tomorrow, I'm actually having a nun day tomorrow. I'm locking myself into a room. I'm not speaking all day. I'm actually preparing a presentation. I'm recording a brand new how to market and sell teeth whitening program online course on Friday. So I'm speaking for 8 hours on Friday, so I need to save my voice for that course. So you'll be the last people I'll be speaking to for 24 hours. So, so here's the analogy to answer Ash's question. There's the question. If you imagine that I was a travel agent and I was to sit down with you and ask you if you were, what would you want from your holiday? Where would you like to go? What's your destination? And you told me that you wanted the 5 S's, the sun, sea, sand, the sangria, and of course the sun cream. You probably thought the 5th S was something else, weren't you? I could tell you were the group. Okay, so you want the sun, sea, sand, and sangria. Okay, and the 5th S. So I find out your destination, and then I say to you, before I show you where you're going, what I'd like to do is just give you a quick 35-minute presentation on the aeroplane to get you there. And I start talking about twin cams, and I start talking about the engine size, how the plane is made, the credentials of the flight attendants and the pilots. Would you really be interested? And the answer is, of course, no. You just want to know what time's the plane leaving and how long's the flight. And because really what you're interested in is the destination. So to answer Ash's question is this, is you find out what the patient's destination is, you explain to them how you can help them get there, ask them if they're happy with that, committed, and once they're committed, once they're on their aeroplane, of course, you can then tell them all about what's going to happen if the plane crashes, and that's called consent. So I hope that's answered your question, Asha, and I hope that's given you some thoughts on what ethical sales is all about. Has that answered your question? Actually, this might be a good time. Would love to have a go. Cheya, oh, you just missed out. Sorry about that. But has anybody else got any burning questions they would like to ask me before I just jump on to the next slides at this stage? Does all this make sense? Maybe put your thoughts down in the chat box. Does this all make sense? Are you finding this useful? Good. Okay. So, question. Question. Let's go back to the question. The answer to the question is yes. Yeah. So get commitment. Ask them how they feel about the solution. If they're happy with that and they're ready to move forward, then you can go into the all the information about consent. Thanks very much. My talks were amazing. When patients only want a single arch done to save money, but really could do both, how do you explain this without looking like you're selling? Great question. That's in the chat box. I think it goes back to Hine of really, I hope I pronounced your name correct there, is really going back to finding out what their desired situation is, what they really would like to see at the end of treatment and why that's important to them. If they're wanting a lesser solution to save money, then what you probably need to do is find a way of how you can make it happen. So maybe a finance plan to allow them to have the full treatment could be a way of doing it. Or even suggesting to them that, you know, you're only offering half a solution to a bigger problem, and ask them work together on how you can make that happen, if that makes sense. So I hope that's answered your question there. Good question. I've never come across that one before. Okay. What's the best way to close and get permission? Don't want to look pushy, but nice buzz to close an appointment. Well, Chair, hopefully you've got this. What would it mean to you if we could do this for you? The patient turns around and says, it would mean the world to me. You've got their commitment. They're more or less telling you what they're more or less telling you they want the treatment. Now, of course, you've got to go through solutions. You've got to go through the pricing. You've got to go through overcoming objections. And then you can go on, hopefully, to the finalize and the close. But if you do this, and I think, Chair, if you do this really well, and you've not had the training and the coaching, and I've only given a presentation, you really do not sound like a salesperson at all. You really come across as a professional person who's genuinely interested. If you ask these questions, you will not, and build that rapport, and you are genuinely interested, you will not sound like a salesperson who's desperate to close. They will buy themselves from you, if that makes sense. Asha, good question though. How do you deal with the how much? Because so many people's choices are based on their disposable income. I've had situations where I help out really keen on teeth whitening, but they hear the price, they say no. Well, it goes back, Asha, to the questions. And it goes back to the right type of patient. At the start of the presentation, I asked this question. I said, what is ethical sales? And ethical sales is building rapport with the right type of patient. And the word right is someone who is genuinely interested in what you are offering and has the income to spend on that, if that makes sense. So the word right is someone who's got a genuine interest for what you're offering and has the income to do that. Okay, now, if they want the treatment and it's really important to them, then what I normally find is that people find the money for things, people find money for things that they really want. So it depends on how serious they are at asking the questions, how serious they are at building that rapport and finding out if they have a real a need for what you're offering, and it's of genuine interest. If they have, and money is the issue, then maybe offer them finance, or maybe you could do it over a couple of months, 2 or 3 months, and see if that's possible. If they haven't got the income to do it, you can't win them all. It's impossible. So it really goes back to the right And it goes back to if they've got the income to do that and if it's a strong enough desire. But if you can spread it over 2 or 3 months, and if you can do that, maybe one appointment to take the impressions, take a deposit, and then they bring them back and they're fitting a month later or 2 or 3 weeks later where they pay the second payment, that might work for them. But you have to find out what it is. Hopefully I've taught you tonight, Dilip, that I haven't taught you to sell. I've taught you how not to sell. Selling is about asking questions. What I can say is the 24.5 or 25,000 dentists who take my courses, who come back every year, some of the leading implantologists in the UK tell me that the major benefit of my courses are that you are connecting with the client. You're really understanding what they're looking for. You're really building stronger relationships. And when that happens, you're less likely to have any being sued or being, if anything goes wrong halfway down treatment, which sometimes it does, and you've got to try and work together to put it right, then it's less likely to have any problems because you are connecting. So the more questions and the more better rapport, the better the relationship. And this is not selling. This is really identifying and solving problems. Another question here: which is the best, given the treatment plan for Invisalign, the cosmetic treatment together, or just mention saying we can chat about them? Well, again, it goes back to Vinyar, what's the patient looking for and what's the most urgent thing that they want. So it's fine. Again, it goes back to the better questions you ask, the more you can understand. You see, when you ask questions, you can understand what's really important to the patient and what they want, what's important to them. So in the, I've only spent half an hour discussing questions. We spent 5 hours on this, but there is a protocol, and you can understand what's really important to the patient, and then you can, of course, play that back and give them what they want. So that's the major advantage of asking the patients questions. So, has it been useful this evening? Oh, one more on the chat box. Let's just go back to the chat box again. Thank you. You're welcome. I hope you've got a lot from tonight. I know one or two of you've got more questions. Just like to just talk to you. If you've really got a lot from tonight, if this is okay, Mish, can I just give you a quick 5 minutes?
Yeah, go for it.
On some couple of things that we're doing.
Are you happy to stay behind for another 5-10 minutes after?
Yeah, absolutely.
What I want to do is, the ones that do want to go, I just want to go through a few things. We are first immensely grateful for Ashley Lattis to come down and, well, from the comfort of his Manchester base and talk to us tonight. A lot of revision for me and a few new tips as well. So Ash, thanks a lot for an amazing presentation. The other thing is that we are going to be giving CPD for this talk. So you will get a link that should happen within the next 24 hours. But on closing the presentation, you should get a link for feedback. And once you do that, those that come regularly will know that you just fill it in and you will get a CPD for link back to your certificate back to your inbox. Next month is about endo versus implants and the kind of considerations that, in terms of clinical dentistry, in terms of selection and choice, and that will be Wael Gergis talking, who's very experienced, based out of Oxford. So yeah, that's next month. Ashley's gonna hang about.
Well, if I could just, I've literally got 5 more minutes to go.
Yeah. And
then I'm more than happy to stay behind after to answer any questions, because I know. But if I could just, if this is okay with you, Mish,
yeah, go for it.
If you just give me 5 more minutes and I'll answer some questions. If you've got a lot from tonight, and I know it's interesting, some of the questions you've answered, you would have asked them if you took part in the 2-day course. But if you'd like to, if you're really serious about taking this to the next level and really would like to make the next 12 months possibly your best ever, then What I do know is there's never been a better time at this moment, demand for Invisalign and other cosmetic treatments. Now is the time. I think the next few months, there's some great opportunities for you. We deliver a 2-day ethical sales and communication course. In a few moments, I'm going to tell you about a very, very, very special one. I deliver about 15 of these a year, but I'm delivering one with Jazz Winder-Gill, who's a platinum Invisalign provider. I'm going to talk to you a little bit about the special course, but very quickly, over 2 days, we go through all the 8 steps to a perfect consultation. So we go really deep into the questions. We go into the emotional reasons and why patients buy Invisalign treatments. We then spend the afternoon looking at how to present the treatment plan and using the emotional language. Definitely help you if you are NHS, how to sell more private against NHS, but most importantly, how to eliminate the waffle and get your point across a lot clearer and a lot slider. The next day, we look at the evidence you can use, video testimonials, and all the other things, the 6 must-have influences that we use to get patients to say yes. We cover a little bit on the Zoom, how it works on Zoom. Then we focus on how to discuss fees with confidence. And then we give you all the how to present the fee so you don't get objections. Well, occasionally you do get price objections. There's 7 different price objections, and we go through each one with you and show you how to overcome them. And then, of course, we cover the closing bit at the very, very end. So it all sounds seamless. Now, it's a proper behavior change program. So I typically only have 30, 35 delegates in the room. You practice, we will coach you. You will leave not knowing how to drive a car to driving a car. So it becomes automatically, you'll be doing this, like I said, in your sleep. I mentioned at the start, I worked with Align Technology in 2019. We're supposed to do a whole year last year, unfortunately got stopped for COVID, and we worked with 27 odd practices, over 100 delegates. And we grew there. They had some of the most amazing results. We had a lot of them get to platinum. These are just some feedback from courses that people have taken in. These are, by the way, these are just all online, by the way, not properly in the room. So these guys are all coming back to work with me in the room, and they'll get even better results. So we're really helping people get diamond, get to platinum. This guy here, Amir Vagela, he worked with me for a few months. He's now up to, I spoke to him a couple of weeks ago, he's up to 80 cases. He's coming back to work with me in Manchester in a couple of weeks. And these are just results. I get emails like this virtually every single day. Now, we are running, I'm running a further 10 more 2-day courses this year in Manchester, Glasgow, and London. But if you are really into the Invisalign and really would like to take that to the next level, then I think what we're doing on the 12th and 13th is probably going to be truly amazing. So Jazz Winder-Gill is a dentist who, a lot of you will know Jazz. He's a dentist for many years. He's platinum. He actually delivers my courses for me in London, but we're going to be working together as a super team on the 12th and 13th of October in London. And we're going to be really taking if you're really into Invisalign, doing more cosmetic treatments, then I'm going to deliver the material with Jazz, and Jazz is going to sit there giving example after example after example of how he actually does it. So if you're genuinely interested, you can join that course on my website, or this is the very best thing we're doing now. And this is called the Success Club. The Success Club is basically where you work with me for 18 months. So you can take my 2-day course first, any 2-day course you want, anywhere in the country. About 6 to 8 months later, you come back and take my advanced masterclass. That's just a 1-day program where we refresh the skills you learned from the first 2 days, plus we're giving you material as well. Because you get great results for a few months, but occasionally it dips, and that's why people come back. But also you come and take my 1-day speaking and self-confidence course. That's a breakthrough communication program. Now, if you went on my website, you will see that we also will give you my ethical sales online course. Now, here's the best thing about this program. It's 6 hours, 8 sessions. It is an Invisalign consultation from start to finish, broken down. The last video is me doing a 24-minute version of a whole consultation. It is priceless. It is brilliant. You get that straight away as soon as you join the Success Club. So you can start learning this straight away. I'm also going to give you my brand new online teeth whitening course, which I'm recording on Friday. That will be out in about 6 to 8 weeks. And also you get my ultimate follow-up Google review video referrals program as well. If you are genuinely interested, and I mean genuine, you are really keen, you're forward thinking, you really want to take these skills to the next level, then you can join my Success Club for payments of $245 plus VAT and only 18 payments of £97. Now we're doing this so it makes it easy for you to do work with us. You can, like, we've got over 300 dentists who are on our Success Clubs now. They are getting amazing results. We will work with you. You get all the online courses for free, and you get the speaking course for free as well. So the only courses you're paying for are the 2-day course and the masterclass program. Everything else you are getting for free, and you can spread it over £97. Who's it over 18 months? Sorry. It's for dentists who are good already, who just want to get better. If you're great at getting great results, then this will take you to the next level. Maybe you've done some courses and you've not fulfilled them, then this is for you. Maybe if you NHS want to do more private, this will be for you as well. You've got to take part. My programs are not sit there and we'll put a magic spell on you. You have to do stuff, but all our courses are inspirational, motivational, and the idea of working and networking with 30, 40 great dentists in a room, if that's what you want, then our courses are for you. Most people buy this every day, and that's what it will be, literally. So here's the best thing about learning communication skills and ethical sales. And this is last year, Dustin Johnson earned $9.6 million. So not last year, the year before, playing golf. Jason Korak earned $1.9 million. And over a year of hundreds of rounds of golf, the difference was only 1.4 shots per round. And small differences make a massive difference to your income. And that's the same with ethical sales. If you just think about what you've learned this evening, just in 90 minutes, what you could learn in 30 odd hours of this type of training in a room, face to face, what income you could generate and literally change your dental career forever. If you are really keen on this, let me explain what's going to happen next, because I've got an extra coaching training call free as well. If you're really keen on this, if you go and email me, that's ashley@thesellingcoach.com, I will send you a link where you can join the Success Club. Okay, so you can just pay £245 deposit. Tomorrow, you will receive all our online courses. Our books will be sent in the post, and you can start learning from the ethical sales online course straight away. If you put that in your car, you walk around or listen to it in the gym, you will start to develop these skills straight away. So you can either send me an email, or if you go to my website under ethical sales, the first course, it says 30th of April, you can join there as well. So you can go online. Now, all you need to do then is just drop me an email to let me know which course you want to take in the UK. So we have courses in Manchester, London, and Glasgow. The teeth whitening course you will receive in about 6 to 8 weeks. I'm recording it on Friday. Now, here's the special thing. I've never done this before, but you're going to get this. On June the 10th, now, all my courses before June are full. You can't take a course with me. So if you join the Success Club, you'll get the online course tomorrow. And on June the 10th, I'm going to run another training course between 7 and 9 o'clock, where I'll coach you on the program and get you ready. You will make money from this before you even get in a room with me. That's my goal, that this course has paid for itself several times over before you've even got in the room with me. You take the speaking course whenever you want. We have courses in September, October, and July, sorry, you can join that whenever you want. The advanced course, I'd wait at least 6 to 8 months after the 2-day course before you take that. Take the 2-day course first, and you can join the advanced course after. If all this sounds like hard work, you can just join the London course and just enroll tonight for £14.75 plus VAT. That's me and Jazz. And you just need to go to my website, ashleylatta.com. Hope all that's made sense. As soon as you join the Success Club, though, which I think is an absolute no-brainer, then I will send you the online courses and send you details of the June the 10th coaching call with me. Like I said, we'll get you making money from this before you've even taken the course. So all that hopefully makes sense. But if you need anything that you're not sure about, just drop me an email, ashley@thesellingcoach.com. But you could have the online course by tomorrow, the books by the weekend. And we have courses starting in July, September, but the big one with me and Jazz is on October the 12th and 13th. I will not be wearing an orange shirt with shorts on. That was us in Manchester a couple of years ago. You've got nothing to lose, everything to gain. 24,000 delegates have taken this, so it's backed up. That's me done. Mish, any more questions? Let me ask C. Is it suitable? I've taken the 2-day course, public speaking course previously. Did the course in the last years? Did the course in the last 5 years or so? I guess. Sorry, I'm not quite sure I understand the question. Did you take the course 5 years ago, Sandra? It's changed and tweaked a bit. Obviously, there's new material coming on all the time. So the best thing about the program, I think, with Jazz, that's going to be a bit different to the normal 2-day courses, is that he's going to be giving examples of everything he's doing. He's now platinum and growing his Invisalign numbers all the time, and he's using all my skills that he's learned on the course. Obviously, he's teaching it, so you might benefit. But if you want to have a chat with me, drop me an email, I'll give you a call. Thanks, Sandra.
Ashley, there was a discussion at the beginning about books available on Audible, and you said that you'd come back to that.
Yes. Right. So we have not got the books on Audible yet. You can buy the books from my website. The online course is the only way we've got it as Audible, if that makes sense. So the online course is me sort of delivering the course with a real life patient, if that makes sense. But that's the only way we have it as Audible at the moment. And if you wanted to, if you don't want to take our courses, you can actually buy the online course on its own on my website.
Another question was around, you know, when you were talking about keeping in contact with patients regularly.
Yeah.
How do you kind of balance that without like harrowing and bombarding them? I think Anita asks.
It's a brilliant question, Mish. It's a question I get asked all the time. Right, I could do a whole day on this, but let me give you the quick 2-minute answer. And here's how you do it. You obviously follow up with a phone call first, and hopefully you'll gauge where the patient is in that follow-up call of the answer to the phone. But what you've got to do is subliminally keep in touch. And you can keep in touch a variety of ways. And it could be via social media. Hopefully they've joined your network. It could be they get your newsletter that comes by email, or something that they can see. Maybe they get the something in the post once a quarter. It could be a special offer. It could be an open evening. It could be a voucher. It could be just a handwritten card, just to say, hi, Mish, just want to let you know I'm thinking of you, and I'm here if you ever decide now's the time. If you've got any questions about the treatment, just a handwritten card is a great way of keeping in touch. I send about 1 or 2 handwritten cards a day, or give them out, and it's amazing what handwritten cards can do for your business. So you just got to keep in touch, and if providing you're not driving people mad and you're doing it subliminally, then what happens is people wake up one day and they say, I'm ready now. And the only people they remember is you, because you're keeping in touch. It's just amazing how many people I do business with that I'd never hear from ever again, because nobody's kept in touch. And I forget who I've contacted, nobody remembers. And that's how people do. So people stop following up after about 2 or 3 times. Now, what will happen is tonight, there'll be some people on this program tonight who would have heard me for the first time, and they won't join the courses. They hang on and wait and procrastinate, because that's what some dentists do. But it could be they get my newsletter for a year or so, and in a 12 months time, the time is right, and then they join the courses. It's amazing what things happen. But you've got to have a system of just subliminally keeping in touch, and hopefully one day when the patient wakes up and they're ready, they can only remember you.
With the there was another question. Can practice managers attend with dentists, and how does that work?
Yeah, I mean, to be honest with you, the more from your team that come, the better, because everybody sort of starts singing from the same hymn sheet. So if you are a practice and owner and you want to come with some of your people, if you drop me an email at ashley@thesellingcoach.com, we can speak to you. We can give you some discounts for numbers. We actually have a practice success club where we have practices who work with us over a year, and they can have as many people on our courses as they want over a 12-month period at significant discounts. So we have various ways. If you just drop me an email or contact me from our website, then yes, absolutely. But the more you get involved, the best thing about this, Mish, as you know, we've worked with some of your team, is that we find rising stars. We find a little quiet nurse who becomes a brilliant treatment coordinator. And that's always happens on our courses. So last week I did an in-house course, and I turned around to the owner. I said, your nurse there would make an incredible TCO. And they promoted her. That's what she does now. And she's making them absolute fortunes. So that's the advantage of working with the team.
Can you tell us a little bit about the Two Reds podcast, Rena asks?
Yeah, so if you go to my website, we do a podcast, Two Reds Are Better Than One. That's me and Chris Barrow. There's about 4 years worth of interviews. And if I'm biased and say so myself, there's some brilliant interviews there with some very, very, very clever people. So we need to get you on, Mish, actually, you and your kid. We need to have the sad, and your dad as well, the 3 of you. And you all need to wear dicky bows.
I'll wear a United shirt. I'll wear a United.
I've got a question here. If a patient asks, what would you do? How do you answer the question without appearing to be hard selling, Naresh? Naresh, if you invest time in the relationship and the patients trust you, then they will not think you are hard selling them. And that's the simple answer to that question. Brian Hargreaves, remember what I said before. I gave the deeds to my house to someone I only met within an hour, because he just built amazing rapport and connected with me, where the 2 Dumbos previously came to my house and didn't know what I did, and I was banking with them for 20 years. So, but another great phrase would be, Naresh, if you are my brother, this is what I would do, is another great phrase. Or if you're asking me, I'm slightly biased, but I would say have this treatment, and this is the reasons why. So I hope that's helped. But the more you invest in the relationship, the less the patient thinks you're not selling to them. Jeeper, hello, love your presentation. Is it better for us dentists, orthodontists to discuss the pricing, or is it preferably to have a key patient manager take over the pricing talks? Would this interrupt the magic flow you created the patient in mistake, or it looks like a professional approach? Thank you. Great question. If you've got brilliant TCOs, we train TCOs, and they are great, and you're all working together as a team, then there is a big advantage cheaper, of getting the TCOs or your support team to do all the fees and closing it and getting the finances, because it saves your time and you can crack on doing something else. So I think it's different strokes for different folks, but if you've got a really good team who are brilliant at working together with you, then there is big advantages, of course, of letting them do this, because it can save your time and you can do the things that you're good at. But I've got other dentists who prefer to do all this themselves, close the treatment plan and then hand it over. So it's different strokes for different folks. That's a good question.
Actually, I used your stuff today. Somebody came in and used the feel, felt, found thing.
Oh, the overcoming objections.
Yeah, and it was really good. It's just
Brilliant, isn't it?
yeah. So yeah, every day a learning day.
Good. Maria, do I have a club account? Yes, we're doing a clubhouse tomorrow at 1 o'clock with Jane Sproston. So yes, so if you just follow me, but we're doing that at 1 o'clock tomorrow. Yes, I do. I'm dabbling with Clubhouse.
How are you finding
Are
it?
the online courses eligible for CB? How long are they able to be bought? The online courses are they CPD? We need to work at that, Christopher, to be honest. That's something that we need to incorporate. Let me look into that for you, because the vast majority of the people who've got the online courses take the courses as well. But I'm certain we can make that happen. The answer to your question is yes.
How are you finding Clubhouse, actually?
Yeah, I'm enjoying it, to be honest. So far, so good. I've done, I think I've done about 10 sessions now. Fully enjoyed it, and we've definitely got some business from it as well. But it's just like everything, you know, when you're delivering 3 or 4 courses a week, you know, by the time you've finished, you know, I'm on my knees normally. So, you know, I'll have to just, I will be doing more Clubhouses. I just need to pace it and just build it into the diary properly. That's what I need to focus on now, is proper diary management, because I'm actually delivering about 24 days of courses in May and about 3 evenings. So there's a lot going on in May. So just need to plan it out and make sure that I'm not burning. I mean, look, where we are now, it's 9 o'clock. I will not get to sleep before 1 o'clock this evening. That's the problem when you do these things. It takes you a while to come down. So luckily tomorrow I'm locked in a room all day, just preparing for Friday. But you know, when you do stuff at night time, it really does affect your sleep. I really find it hard to switch off. So I just need to, I'll be doing more Clubhouse, but I just need to manage it properly. That's all.
Excellent. Ashley, I think we're going to call it a night, if that's okay.
Yeah.
And it's been great to have you, and we'll most probably have you soon again with us and chatting. And this new, you know, what you did today with the role play was really, really good. It's something that's new for us as well, so it worked well. And happy to try that again as well. Ashley,
no, thank you for having me.
But thank you so much for giving.
Thanks everybody. Hope you enjoyed it, and hope we can see you in the room. Be great to work with you. Thank you. Are these suggestions applied to all of the countries? I've delivered this course in 15 countries worldwide. It works wherever you go. Building relationships with people applies wherever you go, as far as I know. All right. Cheers, everyone.
Thanks for that.
Bye, mate.
Bye.